You ever feel the heat? Not the kind of heat that comes from the sun or the furnace. I'm talking about the heat that starts in your bones the moment the alarm screams at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's the burn life. Most people run from the fire. They want warmth, sure, but they're terrified of the flame. But you have to learn to live in it. We trade the best years of our youth, the literal strength of our spines, for numbers in a digital account. But if that's all it is, just a transaction, you'll turn into ash before your shift is even over. Hard work isn't just about the sweat, it's about the why. You aren't building a building, or coding, or driving a route. You are constructing a fortress for the people who carry your name. Every hour of overtime is a brick. Every sore muscle is a layer of insulation, keeping the cold out of your children's lives. That is the first layer of the burn, the physical sacrifice for the love of the tribe. But there's a secret that they don't tell you at the job site. The harder you work, the more you have to look inward. If you just work and never think, you become a machine. And machines get replaced. Introspection is the cooling system for the soul. In the middle of the burn life, you have to stop and ask, who am I becoming while providing? Am I becoming a provider who is too exhausted to be a father? Am I becoming a success who is too bitter to be a husband? You have to find those quiet moments, the drive home with the radio off, the 5 minutes in the shower where the water hits the back of your neck, and you have to look at the man in the mirror. Scrape off the ego like a slag of molten metal, and ask yourself, is my heart as calloused as my hands? Because if you win the world for your family, but lose your soul in the process, you haven't given them a father. You've given them a pile of gold and a hollow hero. People think spiritual connections happen on the top of a mountain or in some silent temple. No, the deepest connection happens when you are at the end of your rope and you realize there is a thread holding you up that you didn't tie yourself. Your work is a form of worship. When you provide, you are participating in the act of creation. You're telling the universe, I am the steward of these lives. That connection to God, to the Spirit, to whatever you call the great more, is what turns grind into grace. When you work with a spiritual focus, the exhaustion changes. It's no longer a weight. It's a shedding of the unnecessary. You start to see that you aren't just a body earning a paycheck. You are a soul, refining its character through effort. The fire doesn't just consume, it purifies. Finally, you have to look at the embers you're leaving behind. The burn life isn't selfish. If you do it right, you're leaving a trail of warmth for everyone else. How do you leave the world a better place? By doing the work correctly. By being the one who doesn't cut corners when no one else is looking. By being the provider who still has enough light in their eyes to smile at a stranger. We are all just passing through, but the burn leaves a mark. When my time is up, I don't want them to say, he worked a lot of hours. I want them to say, he lived in the fire, and he used that heat to keep us all warm. So embrace the burn. Work until your hands are tired. Think until your mind is clear. Pray until your heart is full. Provide, protect, and in that fire, find out who you were always meant to be.
has got me on my mind. So the same feel like I'm running out of time. February feels like such a tease, and I can't carry on. Will you take this, please?